Stop loss is not your friend. It's way more than that. It's your guardian angel. The only thing between you and blowing up your account. Every big loss I've ever taken had one thing in common. At least one trade with no stop loss, or a stop loss that I didn't respect. I have been burned more than a dozen times from not having a stop loss. Sudden market moves while I was scalping. Huge candles when I forgot about a major economic event, and price moved way beyond what I thought was an acceptable loss. But also moving the stop loss, risking more because of hope, hoping to be right and avoid losing money. And every time, the result was the same. An emotional reaction I never planned for. You will hear some traders brag, I don't use a stop loss, I have a mental stop, I am in control, I need to give room for my trade to breathe. They scale in, scale out, add to losers. And on social media, it can look really sexy. You may watch them and think, if they can do it, I can do it too. But here's the truth. You don't know their account size. You don't know their real drawdowns. You don't know how many blown accounts are behind that confidence. If you are still learning or even profitable but with a smaller account, trading without a stop loss is basically gambling and a sure way to fail in the long run. I learned that the hard way, not once, not twice, more than a dozen times. And looking back, I know why I did it. Many of us hate stops because we hate being wrong. We think a stopped out trade is a failure. I have to tell you, it's not. A stopped out trade is just the fee we pay for doing business. If you don't use a stop, you aren't avoiding the loss. You are just delaying the lesson. And I tell you this from my own experience. The market charges interest on delayed lessons. If you are risking, say, 1% per trade, you need a hard rule for when your idea is wrong. Not a feeling, not I'll get out if it looks bad, but something concrete that takes out thinking and emotions. If you have a strategy or a system, a stop loss is part of that system. If there is no stop, there is no system. It's just vibes and wishful thinking. Think of a trade as a business contract. The stop loss is the clause that says if the market does X, the deal is voided. If you move your stop while in the trade, you are actually renegotiating the contract after you already signed it. And this does not make any sense. A hard stop forces you to respect the contract you signed with the market. And I know what you may say. You know a profitable trader who doesn't use a stop loss. And let's for a moment say that's true. What does that have to do with you and me? Every one of us is a unique human being. Throwing away a powerful tool like the stop loss and rebuilding your whole system around not using it just because someone else supposedly made it without one, to me that's not logical and it's definitely not wise. But of course that's me, and I would like to ask you, do you use mental stops? Tell me why I'm wrong in the comments. Right now, I trade futures, mostly NQ, and it's insanely volatile. For example, I might be scalping with 2 contracts, risking 20 points. That's already a serious amount of money on the line. Some days the range widens so much that 20 points is a joke. On those days, I might switch to 1 contract with a 40-point stop. Same risk, still a defined risk. If I let my trading be driven purely by impulse on days like that, I'm not gonna be losing 2 or 3% of my account, I'm gonna be losing 20 or more, and I've done that before. That's why I'm also so strict about this now. Actually, let me show you exactly what I mean. Because this specific trading day I'm gonna show you is the reason I decided to make this video. I am doing a replay here, and this is exactly where my system gave me a signal to enter a long. I had my 2 contracts, I entered a long here. The trade actually would be invalidated, this trading idea, if the price moved further below the London VWAP. My 20-point stop loss, this is according to my rules. At this point, I have just signed the contract, as I said on the video before. What I decided was I will give it a little bit more room. Again, the contract is intact because my maximum loss, my calculated loss is 20 points. I will tell you from now that I didn't move my stop loss, and of course on the next candle it hit the stop loss, I took that loss, and that was it for this specific setup. Me, a few years ago, when I would see this candle here, what I would do, I would move my stop loss here. I would disregard my rules, my initial rules, and I would say, no, I want to win. I would say, okay, we have like a nice support maybe here. So now my risk, I will increase my risk. I'm out for like total of minus 58 points loss because I had 2 contracts. If you let all these impulses drive your trading, I would say, okay, now, for example, I wouldn't have a signal, but I would start thinking, making trades and signals on the fly, even if they do not exist. So I would say, okay, let's go short here. And I would take another loss. Now, what will also happen? Again, a few years ago, this is what I would have done. Having a stop loss that you do not move does something important to your brain. It trains you to think in risk and not in hope. It forces you to plan your exit before you enter. It protects you from the version of yourself that shows up when you are scared, tilted, or desperate. But there is also a secret benefit to a hard stop that no one talks about. It silences the noise. When I don't have a stop, my brain is asking constantly, should I exit? How about now? That drains my energy super fast. When I place a hard stop, I make one decision instead of 1,000. It frees my mind to actually read the charts and manage this trade instead of just staring at my P&L in terror. So no, the stop loss is not your friend. A friend might lie to you to make you feel better. A friend might say, it will come back, don't worry. A stop loss is not your friend. It is like a firefighter in your team. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't care about your hope. It cares about one thing and one thing only, dragging you out of the burning building before the roof collapses. And in this business, that's better than a friend. That's like a lifesaver. It's a weapon to scare away your trading demons. And I would like you to be honest. What's the worst loss you ever took because you didn't have a stop loss? Please comment below. I hope you found this video helpful. And if you did, please give it a like. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next video.